£60 million offer accepted, Erik Ten Hag ultimatum, Marcus Rashford Manchester United future verdict given. Marcus Rashford has been unable to repeat his form shown last season for Manchester United. Manchester United face a big decision over the future of Marcus Rashford this summer. The Red Devils forward has struggled for form this campaign, on the back of his best ever campaign for the club, leading to questions over what the future holds for Rashford. When questioned on his attitude, the 26-year-old has often made a habit of silencing his critics by responding with a strong performance. One accusation the Wythenshawe-born attacker cannot shrug off, however, is his career appears to be at somewhat of a crossroads ahead of the transfer window. A goal return of 8 in 40 appearances for the England international has left some supporters ready to accept a parting of ways, though not everyone is convinced Rashford's time is up. The Manchester Evening News has spoken to former United forwards Dwight Yorke and Giuseppe Rossi for their thoughts. Meanwhile, various Manchester Evening News writers have had their say on the best course of action. Dwight Yorke: Marcus Rashford is 26 years old, he still has time. Why wouldn't you give, arguably, your best player time? Okay, he's not performed like the best player at the club recently, but why would you sell him, unless he wants to move himself? A hard conversation needs to be held with Rashford by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Erik Ten Hag or the manager next season, to figure out what he wants to do, Yorke told the Men via TV Sport Guide. You want to hear from Rashford's mouth, I want to stay and fight at the club. He's 26 years old, coming into his prime, why would you get rid of him? There's still so much more to come from the kid, it's a load of nonsense if anyone wants to sell him now. He can still turn it around. Giuseppe Rossi: I said at the start of the season on my podcast that Marcus Rashford needed time to get back to his world-class level, but he's had a lot of time and he's still not performing, Rossi said via DAZN. There's something missing and I don't think we should blame the players around him. He needs to play at his best level so his teammates can rise up to that standard. When you think about the best players in recent years, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, they maintained their success and always elevated the players around them. Marcus Rashford just seems a bit distracted at the moment, and that doesn't help when he needs to be taking on more responsibility. Sometimes players are scared when playing for the biggest clubs in the world. He has to start being the leader again and demanding the ball. I hope we haven't, but we might have seen the best of Marcus Rashford last season, I hope not. When you have that opportunity to be on a big team like Manchester United every day is a blessing. If Marcus Rashford could grow into a leader, then United could find themselves in a different spot next year. Tyrone Marshall: There is no doubt Marcus Rashford has had a disappointing season at Manchester United and his confidence has clearly taken a blow. When his confidence is low, it affects his body language and at times that can make it look like he is disinterested, which is why that relationship with supporters can easily fray. But it's less than a year since Rashford was the toast of Old Trafford. He was the first player to score 30 goals in a season since Robin van Persie, and at the end of that campaign Erik Ten Hag was challenging him to get to 40. He's yet to get to 10 this season. It's difficult to work out exactly what is going on with Rashford, but it's too early to consider selling just yet. He is still in United's best front three this season, with Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund, and while a 30-goal season might have been a one-off, he can get to 20 pretty consistently. That is valuable, and it does mean something that Rashford is one of United's own. So I would give him another year to rediscover that form and confidence and perhaps even his enjoyment of his football. If we're still having this debate at the end of next season, then it will be time to consider selling. George Smith: So soon after signing a new long-term deal, it feels somewhat mind-blowing that this topic is up for discussion. Rashford plundered 30 goals in all competitions last season, producing some of the best performances he had served up in his career, meaning he was offered a new deal until 2028. Erik Ten Hag had managed to get a consistent tune out of him, and it felt as though he was coming of age and ready to become United's main man. However, like so many of his teammates, he has regressed this season, and that is highlighted by his tally of just 8 goals. Despite that, he will still command a hefty-sized transfer fee this summer, and money generated from a potential sale would count as pure profit towards the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, because he is an academy product. The boos aimed at him from United's fans as he exited the field at Wembley last weekend suggested that patience is wearing thin with his underwhelming performances. There have been too many of those this season. If Paris Saint-Germain, or indeed anyone else, comes knocking with a big money offer, United should consider cashing in. The reset button is going to be hit this summer, meaning it could be the perfect juncture for both parties to go their separate ways. Tom Doyle. Rashford has always held a special place in United fans' hearts. The pride of watching him make the step from academy talent to that sensational Premier League debut against Arsenal, and become a star player for club and country, will never be forgotten. His work off the field also stands out, with his campaigning against racism and for free school meals for children marking him out as an inspirational young man regardless of his talent. His unique bond with the fans has also bought Rashford plenty of second and third chances following an indifferent campaign, one which is all the more disappointing given his stunning form the previous season. There are legitimate arguments to be had over Erik ten Hag's tactics and the quality of Rashford's teammates, but one thing United fans will never forgive is a lack of effort from a player. United have always indulged rare talents with special treatment, just look at George Best, Eric Cantona and David Beckham to name a few. But they delivered when it mattered, and Rashford hasn't, or not often enough, at least. That ill-timed trip to Belfast will not have gone down well with Sir Dave Brailsford, and has seen patience wear thin in the stands. Rashford clearly has the talent to turn things around at United, and a new manager may offer him a fresh start, but will Sir Jim Ratcliffe see things that way? The Premier League's Profit and Sustainability Regulations, PSR, mean selling academy graduates creates pure profit on the balance sheet. At this point, anything north of £60 million for a player struggling to score and create, who also commands astronomical wages, would be a good deal given United's financial constraints. It will be a sad day if Rashford is sold this summer, but it is a move that may make sense for both him and United. If it also unleashes Alejandro Garnacho's true potential on the left flank, then the Old Trafford faithful will see that as a risk worth taking. Isaac Johnson. Ultimately, Rashford's exit may boil down to who comes in for him. If Paris Saint-Germain come calling offering Kylian Mbappe's vacancy and Champions League football, it would be hard, and perhaps foolish, to resist. The future of Erik ten Hag will also be pivotal, or who his successor might be. United as a club ought not to make a snap decision. Given current options, United's attack would quite clearly be weakened without Rashford. That may put off potential managerial candidates knowing that more work would need doing in attack. It'd be fickle to forget Rashford's 30-goal haul of last season. But if the player himself decides he wants to go, then United need not beg him to stay. The opportunity to rebuild his confidence abroad, away from the England spotlight, could be the antidote to his languid form. He is a confidence player, after all. However, I doubt that would happen unless a big hitter came knocking given his persistent interviews about his love and dedication for United. Something irresistible would have to come along. Despite his malaise, Rashford is a striker with proven talent. In the current England squad he has the second most goals for his country, 17, inevitably behind Harry Kane. The narrative that he offers nothing and ought to be left out of the Euro 2024 needs to stop. Jack Flintham. One of United's trickiest tasks this summer will be to decide on Rashford's future. Under ten Hag's management, it seems as though the forward will be able to stay for as long as he wants despite the misdemeanor earlier this year. However, the question is whether or not this would be the right decision for the team. The Rashford of last season undoubtedly has a part to play at Old Trafford with his direct approach and pace being invaluable no matter who the opposition happens to be. But this season he has been so far off that it is worrying. It is no secret that Rashford is a confidence player, and when that is lacking it exposes some glaring weaknesses in his game. I fully believe that Rashford cares for United and wants to do well, but it is hard to argue when critics have argued that he looks unbothered. If an acceptable bid around the £50 to £60 million mark was submitted in the summer, there would be no harm in accepting it. Yes, United could come to regret it next season, but a fresh start for both seems crucial. The money received would also give a healthy boost to the budget. It would be wise to avoid undervaluing him though. It is not a desperate requirement that he is sold at the end of the season.